let's stay where we are. Oh, I'm not changing because it's just too risky. New ideas will rise. You will pay for it. Not every company will be as big as before. Be open-minded, act now. And now is really the time to say, okay, where I want to be at the end of 2020. At the beginning of the crisis, all companies were feeling insecure. We did not know what will happen in the upcoming months, and we didn't know how to react on it, and also like the government were not really giving any like forecast what they are going to do. So it was only natural that all companies we know who are in the software development, they didn't start new projects, but they kept their running projects. So clear was that everyone tried to keep the situation like it was at the moment when the crisis was starting. In an unusual environment, you have anyway always projects which will be closed because they were not as successful as were expected, or because they were natural on an end. So you have a natural fluctuation on developers. You will always have developers which are highly qualified, but they are not needed anymore in the project which they were designated to. But in this current situation, not new projects were started. So usually projects are new starting, and this developers just switch from one to another. Did not happen now. So this was leading to the point that in the last 2 months we had, on the one hand, more developers which were free on the market. Before they were searching like around 5 days to 10 days for a new job, but now we see them even for 4 to 5 weeks available. But it is not so shining overall, because on the other hand, we have developers who were thinking about switching job before the crisis, and as they also don't know what the current situation will bring, they say, let's wait until after the crisis. So it's a totally different direction. It's like, so before we said developers are more free because there are not so many new projects and all are running out, but there are also less developers on the market, because developers who have currently a job say, I'm not changing because it's just too risky. Let's stay where we are until the situation is gonna be better. If we sum this up, then we have slightly more developers on the market, but not as many as we were even expecting. And this is also because there were not so many crashed projects, like the companies are not investing or going bankrupt. So overall, the situation is slightly better if you are searching for candidates, but it is not like the new paradise for companies who are searching for developers. So we were looking on the current situation. Where do I think are we in a foreseeable future? So no one can look into the next 5 years, but we can look what will happen until the end of 2020 or 2021. At the moment, it is a little bit easier to get candidates, and those candidates are even willing to earn a little bit less money because they are a little bit panicking. But I guess that at least in the second half of the year, if the situation is now getting a little bit more stable, that those people will demand more money to compensate their losses. So no, it's a good moment to start. It's always a good time to start if you are looking for a qualified candidate. But if you're thinking, okay, now we can save especially much money, you will pay for it. So it will not be the same. On the long term, we see that the digitalization was, from many companies and governments, underestimated so far. So I guess we will get more pressure from many customers to get more digitalization. So software development will be, in my opinion, a business which will rise dramatically until the end of the year. Not only will come back the current market and the current companies, I will explain it a little bit later, but also many new companies. Let's look at the current companies. At the end, of the crisis, not every company will be as big as before. For example, automotive in Germany. When a company produces 4 million cars last year and it produces 2 million this year, it does not need as many engineers and not as many production lines. So there will close facilities. But regardless if you are producing 1 million cars, 2 million or 4 million cars, you need the same amount of software in those cars, the same amount of digitalization within your administration. Which means even if those companies are shrinking, it's more likely that they will keep their staff of IT professionals and they will have still the same demand of software developers as before. So here I'm really expecting on the second half of 2020 that we will come back to the same like before. Additionally, we see a situation also again in the German-speaking market, especially there, that homeschooling is coming up, remote working and so on. People who said, oh, I do not understand how to do this home office stuff, so how do we have like digital conversations? They see now, hey, it's working out, but they see they need more software. The whole market on software for teaching, it was not a market in the German-speaking regions, but now it is a market. And there new ideas will rise. And that are not like ideas like Facebook where you don't know will be there a demand or not. They are ideas coming which you already know that there is a demand for. And those companies which can really clearly show what the benefit is, they will also meet new investors because we are currently pumping a lot of money into those markets. So they are desperately searching for investment. So you have startups, you have the classic business, which we have already, and really high acceleration of need of digitalization. And therefore, I believe this whole situation for us as team augmentation company, it will go more in the direction that there will be more companies trying to get more qualified people, and they are hitting on a market where it's not as easy scalable. So we have always the same amount of developers. It's not like at the end of the year there will be twice as much developers. So the demand will get higher and the market on the candidates will be the same. So what is the conclusion? If you were thinking about getting more developers in your team, then you have to act now. You should not lose any time. It sounds like the wrong moment because we are still in this crisis, but now you have the opportunity. And if you're not a really fancy company, which really a lot of money, then if you're thinking about that at the end of the year, you will be too late because there will be many companies searching for developers. And then you have to ask yourself, I'm really like this attractive, this fancy for developers, or am I more a classic company? If you're a classic company and you have your customers and you know that your demand will come back on software developers, then act now. And be open. I said it before, for several reasons, outsourcing is not a solution. Team augmentation, outstaffing, nearshoring, it's the same, all the same. It is a solution. You need to be open-minded. If you say, I only want to produce in-house, then you will be imprisoned in the situation. Be open-minded, act now. You learned now in the crisis that not having those developers on-site in your office does not hurt your project. You had to learn that. And now is really the time to say, okay, where I want to be at the end of 2020. My name is Martin Schlott. I'm founder and CEO of MCPK, your team augmentation company here in Ukraine.